One of the things we hear a lot is, we know there are supports and resources out there, but boy, it's hard to know what we can get where, and it changes regularly. And so this is an opportunity for us to hear for some folks that are in this world that provide services at different levels, state, locally. We need one more chair?
I'm an extra speaker with Kelly.
Well, we can still find you a chair. We got a tall one somewhere? Thanks. We'll get you a chair. It's the least we can do.
Okay.
All right, so while we're finding you a chair, we're gonna at least do quick introductions. If you would start GL, introduce yourself, what organization you're with, and then we'll just make our way down the road.
Yeah, good morning, GL Tucker, Workforce Development Solutions Group at M-State.
James Rowland Soldier, Workforce Strategy Consultant for DEED.
Fern Johnson, Program Specialist in Placement for Vocational Rehabilitation Services for the state of Minnesota, a division of DEED.
Jody O'Brien, I work at Productive Alternatives.
Kelly Knoll, Rural Minnesota SEP, Detroit Lakes Office.
Nicole Norgren, Rural Minnesota SEP, Fergus Falls Office.
All right, so already you get a sense for why they're here, so they can describe to us what they do, right? I'm with DEED, I'm within DEED. So we're gonna start with GL. You get 4 minutes to describe what are the services you provide, anything you wanna share about, so that these folks that are looking for workforce can utilize your services more effectively, GL.
Well, first thing, I appreciate only having 4 minutes because my kids would tell you the less I say, the smarter I sound. So we'll start with that, okay? I represent, first of all, thanks for having us here today. We really appreciate it. We represent, there's several of us here today, represent the Workforce Development Solutions Group at M-State. Our Workforce Development Group partners with business and industry to develop and deliver customized, skills-based training solutions. Some of our skill areas or training capabilities include business technology, that's your Excel, those teams, those kinds of things. Leadership development, there's been all kinds of talk today about leadership development. And we have a ton of projects going on those all the time. All over the state, I would add, both virtual and in person. Diversity, equity, inclusion, another big new area for us. The technical areas, electrical safety, mechanical, maintenance training, technical training, welding training. You may know we have a mobile welding trailer that goes all over the state, North Dakota and beyond. Healthcare, continuing ed. Talked today about the CNA training. We've provided or have plans to provide about 175, training for about 175 students using the governor's funds, and hopefully those continue. Big issue right now is CDL, the new regulations. I think we've trained over 45 students since July 1 with another 20 in the pipeline. So that's good for us. And of course, fire, EMS probably, and some of the law enforcement stuff. Training can be delivered at an M-State campus or your business site. We say any training, anytime, any place. We'll go, we'll do on your schedule. Our trainers know that. Last year, over 8,000 students registered for one of our training classes, and we provided over 101,000 hours of training. So we're pretty robust. We have a really robust group of trainers. We understand, there's a couple of things I think we all agree. We understand today that this is an employee market. I don't think there's any dispute on that. We also understand today that your supervisor or your employees probably leave your supervisors before they leave your organization. Those are a couple facts that are no reason to, I don't think anybody's going to put their hand up and debate me on those. So it's very likely you're hiring employees today that don't check every box you want them to check. It's also very likely today that with technology and all that you got going on in your organizations, you have employees that you need to upskill. That's where we can help you. We can come in and help you do both those things. Help your existing employees upskill, or help your new employees check those boxes that they probably otherwise don't check that you need them to check. So we're around. We've got a booth in the back. We appreciate the time, and thanks for listening. Have a great day.
All right, this is going to be very non-specific, but I think it speaks to kind of the scope of what we do here as the workforce strategy consultants. If you don't know, there are 6 of us across the state. We're divided into different regions. I'm assigned to the Northwest region. That's economic development regions 1, 2, 4, and 5. If you're in those regions, I'd love to have a conversation with you. So our mission is to develop innovative workforce solutions by aligning resources, facilitating collaboration, and leveraging expertise in targeted industry sectors to drive economic equity and growth. I obviously didn't write this. We provide tools and resources for businesses developing workforce strategies. We connect stakeholders to economic development and workforce development resources. We focus on workforce DEI initiatives. Specifically, we really work on getting organizations to understand that those are not just boxes you check or a shiny thing that you can earn, but they're actual solutions to your problems. We work on enhancing Minnesota prosperity through workforce and economic development partnerships, and we work in partnership with stakeholders to provide workforce training development solutions to meet your talent needs, like GL. So, thanks.
Well, I'm Fern Johnson, and I am a program specialist in placement, and I work for VRS, and the VRS mission statements VRS offers a wealth of information, expertise, and experiences to assist businesses with creative strategies to recruit, retain skilled workers with disabilities. We can assist with identifying also accommodations that may be needed with people that have disabilities, and also even job restructuring tasks identifications. One example, I'm working with a nursing home right now that's developing and going through task identification to do support workers. That's one of the aspects that we can do, is just creative ideas in hiring people with disabilities. We will also follow up with an individual that's hired through the VRS program or as an employee for long-term success. We have the opportunity to provide services such as job coaching through our nonprofits, and PA is here to describe a little bit more about that. We can do some cost reimbursements. We have job tryouts where we will reimburse the employer, and that's an initial time. It's like almost a pre-probationary thing. And then as the job goes further, if it's discovered that this individual might be taking a little bit longer to learn this skill, we might be able to come in and help you see what we can do to assess or reimburse some of those extra costs that you may occur. We work with both adults and youth. Some have GEDs, some have high school diplomas, some do not. And also we have people that are post-secondary, 2 to 4 year degrees. I know I've worked with people up into the PhD levels. It just is a time. It's any career field, full or part-time. The big emphasis today has been on flexibility. That's really huge for people that may be utilizing our Social Security for disabilities. And our focus right now as an agency has been on the youth between 14 and 21 years of age. And we hope to work with businesses to set up work experience sites or different types to introduce them to the world of employment in our area. I work all the way from Roseau down into Traverse, and am a new member of this community, and I really am enjoying it. So thank you for your time. I will have a booth in the back.
Hi, I'm Jody from Productive Alternatives. I wasn't the first person that was going to be doing this, so, but I'm here, and so I'll do the best I can here. So Productive Alternatives is a non-profit organization that works with adults with disabilities throughout the state of Minnesota. And we have several different programs that we can offer the people that we serve, but today I'm going to zero in on our placement program. So our placement program, we have what we call employment specialists that are at each of our locations, and at some locations we have even more than one employment specialist. And each employment specialist has a caseload of individuals that are looking for employment. Basically, they're just looking to find a job. So the employment specialist will work with that individual, find out what their strengths are, they find out what kind of work they want to do, and help them try and achieve that goal by getting that job. They may work with them by helping them with putting together a resume or helping them fill out applications. They will end up taking them to the jobs or to different businesses and hopefully get an interview and eventually secure a job. And that's when the job coach comes into play. So once they have this job, then the job coach is there not only to help teach and train, but they're also there to support the individual to make sure that they are successful at the job. And we have some individuals that really just need the job coach to come in for that initial training. And then we kind of fade out services. We have some people that maybe they work a 5-hour shift, but they only need us there for the last 2 hours. We have some people that are so independent that they really just need us to come and check on them a couple times a month, just see how it's going, ask the employer how it's going, see if there's anything that we can do. But we also have those individuals that need the job coaching supports throughout their entire employment. And so it really just kind of boils down to what the individual needs, and we try and do whatever they need. And I guess that kind of is the gist of it. So I'll also have a booth in the back if you have any questions. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Kelly from rural Minnesota, SEPA, Detroit Lakes. We're kind of I like to say we're kind of a quiet business in the background, doing a lot of work with employment and training. We actually have cover 19 counties, 8 offices locally in Fergus Falls, DL, Alexandria, and beyond that is Moorhead, Wadena, Little Falls, Brainerd, Bemidji. So, excuse me, and we have a lot of programs. So how do we help employers? OJTs, on-the-job training contracts. So I heard earlier we were talking about maybe personality over skill, because you can train skill. Well, then that on-the-job training contract can work where you might get reimbursed additional money for hiring that employee while you're working on the onboarding and skilling up and getting them ready to go to be 100% on their game with jobs. Incumbent worker training. We actually work a lot with Amy and GL with some businesses. Maybe they want to do some internal training to skill up some of your employees. We may have the funds to help contribute to pay for that training within the business. So we've done some at Dynamic Homes and Friesens in DL, but we've also had conversations with Lundboats and Bongards for, could be welding, leadership, whatever you might need that helps get people into other positions, opening positions for other people. Work experience, which is a basic, maybe there's a job opening, we can put someone there and actually pay the wages. Now we're paying the wages, they get to learn the job, the skills, if that's something they'd like to do, not to do. Because we work with youth as well, and I think it's really, really important that one of the biggest education pieces of youth is going to work, learning how to work, learning, well, do I like this or not like this? So it's just as much of finding out what they don't like than what they do like, which also helps tailor their pathway to a career and finding out things and knowing, okay, I think this is what I really want to do, whether it's in manufacturing or production. We do a lot with schools with career fairs, because we know it isn't just the line worker in manufacturing. There's marketing, office, retail, in medical fields. It's not just the LPN and the RN, but it's all the other technicians and the office and the insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So there's many positions that can be filled, and youth need to be introduced to those things to decide if that's the way they want to go. We have money to pay for schooling and training, many different programs. Our core programs are we call dislocated worker in WIOA, which dislocated worker business is closed, downsized, different reasons a person has lost their job. Okay, I want to do the same thing, or maybe I want to do something a little different, but I need the certificate. All right, we can maybe help that. WIOA Workforce Investment Opportunity Act is both for adults and youth. And there's many different ways to be eligible. So it's hard to hear when people say, sometimes I can't afford that. Well, let's talk, because we have different programs out there right now that are focusing on different ethnicities and different categories for employment. So if they were maybe over income for something else, you might be eligible for this. And when you work in government and whatnot, things ebb and flow. Things come in, things go out. New things come in, old things go out. So there's always changes. So we always say, come talk to us. Within 2 minutes, 5 minutes, I can almost tell you if you're going to be eligible for something, whether it's training or whatnot. And then I brought Nicole, who's new at the Fergus Falls office, and I said, well, if you're going to get comfortable talking in front of people, you got to talk in front of people.
Hello. I've worked for rural Minnesota Sub for 5 years as an MFIP counselor, and I've been a team leader for a month, so yeah. As she said, as Kelly said, we also work with the youth population. For us, the age range is 14 to 24, and one of our main goals is to introduce them into the work field and what is expected from the employer, what you as an employee might expect from your employer. We work to set them up with job shadows and touring businesses and manufacturing sites and whatnot, just to kind of get an idea of what that job might entail. Like, yeah, I want to build windows, but I have no idea what it's about. So I'm going to go and take a tour and check it out. I don't know how to work that tool, so I'm going to check something else out. Like at that age, they have those options still to figure out, like Kelly said, what they like, what they don't like. And we also, like I said, up to age 24, so we can work with a lot of individuals with their secondary education. So we can look at what their interests are, their skills, their values, put them together to try and come up with a plan that's tailored toward them and work towards that goal and get them set up with schooling and whatnot. So, thank you.
All right, before I turn it back to Nick, just wanted to, and I know he'll overview some of this, but these folks all said they will have tables, but there's also a few others, and just wanted to make sure those were expressed specifically because they're not in Nick's notes, so he wouldn't know who those other table vendors are. But First Children's Finance, who you heard from on the child care panel, will have a table. So Michelle's back there already. So if you want to hear more about those services that she talked about, that First Children's Finance can use to support if you're considering getting engaged in child care from an employer perspective or another organization. She is there with a table. Amy Johnson, who is our Youth Workforce Navigation Partner, will be set up as well and can talk about the K-12 Navigator, which she will this afternoon as well in a session, but is available. We wanted to make sure folks could connect with her about that really important initiative that we have going on at the county. And then finally, another group that you'll hear about in the breakout sessions this afternoon, one of them is Elevate. And Maggie, who was on the child care panel as well, will be on that. She wears a lot of hats, as all of us do, but Maggie Frazanki from Firm Health will be at that table. Just not seeing her face right now. I'm sure she's here. There she is, yeah. So Maggie will be over there if you want to hear about the Elevate program that's been moving forward in Perham area, but certainly throughout Ottertail County. So just wanted to give those more specifics for folks.
We've got a little bit more time. Do we have questions for this group? You're also going to have all of lunch, and they're going to be in addition to the other folks. Do we have immediate questions? In addition to what Amy just said, all the slides that you've been seeing, we'll get those out to everybody. So all of the information you've been seeing, even after, so use this opportunity to go talk to them. Say, hey, here's our situation. Can you provide any supports or services? Or even if you think of this after, tomorrow you're like, gosh, I should have asked them that. Do what I do. Amy and Sarah are like the Alexa of workforce services, right? Because I can't keep track of all of the different acronyms and the different agencies. And they do all provide different but very important work. So I just call Amy and Sarah and say, hey, here's somebody's situation. What do you think they should do? And so do not hesitate to reach out to Amy and Sarah. They're incredible resources, and they will filter you like Alexa does to the appropriate resource.